Hello Doraemons, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we are going to look into the Python question. I think this question is a very tricky question to get in an IRA because you have to calculate and handle different scenarios. And you can also look into the question and you can try to solve this question, and this will be available in my blog post down below in the description. So now let's solve the question right now. So this is the property ID and property type and property price. This is the object structure which they have given, and below this we will be having two list of inputs. One is first a list of property objects which will be of this format, and one more is the tax payment record which will have the property ID and year of when the property tax was paid in the form of key value pairs, which is nothing but their dictionary. And then they have given us some instructions like find the property from the property list of the property management system having the given registration number. So which means they will be giving us an object list and also an dictionary, and then also an property registration number and an year. So we have to find that property registration number. I'll show you the sample input and output. It is easy to understand. So here they will give us like the property ID, property type, and the price, and we have four such object structures like this, and they will give us the dictionary also, which will have the property ID and the year in which the tax was paid, and they will give us a registration number. We have to find this registration number, and for this scenario they were given as like multiple cases conditions, which is over here. So first off, what you should do is if the property tax was paid in the same year of the past year, as you can see they've also passed one year right here. So why this year is passed is for this condition. So we have to find that property registration number in the object list, and we have to check whether the tax was paid on the given argument year or last year. If yes, then no property tax will be detected. So if the year which is passed and the tax paid year has a difference of exactly 2 years, then we have to deduct like find 5% of the property's price as tax. And if the difference between the past year and the tax paid year is greater than 2 years, then we have to add the 5% property tax plus 1000 per year should be added as a fine. And if it is greater than 10, then that registration property should be removed from the list of properties. And yeah, that's what given over here. And for the second function it is um, easy, so that amount is printed over here. And for the second part we have to just print this registration numbers in the order which is passed, and that's it. And it should, these numbers should be here in this list. That's it. So now let's get started. First off, we'll type the basic structure, so that is what needed. For that you need this point. So let's start typing. So first off is class object, and then def init, and this we're going to put self id and type and price. And let's do self dot id is equal to id, and self dot t is equal to t, and self dot price is going to be price. And yeah, so now let's go to the main class. So class main, and here I'm also going to put def init. And here, as I already said, we are going to get two. One is an object list and another one is going to be a dictionary. So we are going to put elist and kdic. Now I'm just going to assign it. So self dot elist is equal to elist, and self dot kdic is going to be kdic. That's it. Now move on to the first function 1 of self, and here we'll be giving the year and also the registration number. So here the registration number I'm going to consider it as n and the year as y, and I'm just going to give pass as of right now because we didn't get any output till now. So now Jeff of 1, 2 and self, here we are not going to pass anything and I'm just going to give pass. And moving on to the main function, if name is equal to main, first off we have to declare our list. So I'm going to give f list is equal to a dictionary, and then we have to declare a dictionary. So I'm just going to give dic. And so now we are going to get the n, which is already given over here. First off, they will give the number of objects which is going to be passed, which is given as 4. N is equal to int of input, and then after this I'm going to iterate for I in range of n. And first off we are going to get the id. So id is equal to int of input, and then the property type is equal to input. It is of type string, and next one is going to be the price. So price is equal to int of input. Now it is done. So after this we have to append it to the f list dot append. Here we have to call the object, and here I'm going to pass id, type and price, and that's it. Now again I'm going to iterate for the same for I in range of n. Now I'm going to get the key value pass. So now I'm just going to get key is equal to int, which is going to be the registration number, int of input, and next one is going to be the year, which it is passed like this. So I'm just going to give as v, and it is also of type integer, and we have to again append it. So dic of k is equal to key is equal to v. So now we have the f list and the dictionary. Everything is almost done. Now we have to get the two values, which is the registration id and also the year. So I'm just going to give reg id or id and getting it in the form of int of input and the year. So here I'm going to just give y, and it's also int of input. Now let's declare the object. So object is the main thing. Without declaring the object, none of the thing will run. So here for the main function we have to pass the f list and also the dic, and for function 1, object dot function 1, we are going to pass this r id and y. And for the second one we are not going to pass anything, so I'm just going to get fun2 and call it. So now let's pass the input to it. I'm just copy pasting it. And run. So here we didn't mention the self. Let's do it, and we should get no error or no output. Yes. So now we can confirm that it is not having any errors. Now let's try to solve the first part. So now what we are going to do is first I'm going to like create in the function 1 we have already passed this registration number and the year. So first I iterate through the elist. So for I in self dot elist, in this I'm going to first find the number. So if I dot id is equal to n, then we have to find the year at which the tax was paid. So for that we have to iterate through the dictionary. So for j in self dot kdic, and here we are going to again find the same id. So if j is equal to n, then we are going to find the year. So here we have to check whether the past year, the difference between the given year in this input and the like the which the tax is paid, the difference, we have to find the difference. So here I'm going to put like if year minus self dot kdic of j, which is the year, is greater than, or we should only consider if it is less than 2 years, then we have to like we have to get only the 5% property tax. So we are going to put less than or equal to 2. Then here I'm going to declare one variable, t is equal to 0, and inside this loop I'm going to just give it as t is equal to and find only the 5% of the total value. So here I'm going to just put t is equal to I dot price until 0.05, so which will just have the 5% of tax value. Now I'm just going to print it. So let's print t and run. Okay, oops, I've also pasted this one. Now I'm just running it. It is giving us 0. Okay, it should not give us 0. Now I'm just going to put it inside this, and now let's see, it is still returning a 0. Let's check where we are missing. So let's just print I dot id comma n. Yeah, so they are same, and this would come inside this loop. And now let's compare j and n. So now print j comma n, and I'm running it. So it has found 1, and in this place it has to check like y minus self dot kdic. Let's check this part. I'm going to print it. I'm just erasing it over here, and inside this I'm going to print it. And I'm going to run it now. So okay, there is one more thing. It is giving us 4. Okay, so now it is not less than or equal to 2, it is greater than 2. So we have to consider other cases also. So I'm just here, if it is greater than 2, for that we have to write it. So if I'm going to take this part again, if it is, we have to one more thing we have to consider. It should be greater than 2, but it should be less than 10. So here I have given it as less than or equal to 2. So if it is greater than 3 itself, it will come to the next loop. So here what I'm going to do is, this should be like less than 10. So if it is greater than 10, we have to exclude that whole entire property. So if it is less than 10, or then here I'm going to put as t plus equal to, here also I have to put t plus equal to. Here I also have to subtract the 5% of the property tax of whole price, and also I have to add like the 1000 per year fine. So here again I have to take this difference and put it in a bracket. And I have to multiply that difference with 1000. So now let's run and see what I'm getting. So now we are getting 30,000, sorry, it's 3 lakh and 4,000 rupees, and we have to convert it into int. And one more thing is, here I've just subtracted 4, but if it is greater than 2, then we should put fine only for the years which is after 2 years, which means if it is 4 years, then we have to calculate late fine only for 2 years, because 2 years period comes under the tax paying time. So now here in this place I'm going to just subtract 2, because we have already deducted the 5% tax for that 2 years. So I'm just going to subtract 2, and now I'm going to run it. Yes, so now we got the output, and I'm going to remove this print. Yeah, and that's it. So one more thing is, we have to consider a case if it is greater than 10. So I'm going to put the same thing over here and copy paste this thing and change only the comparison thing. Go to, and if it is greater than 10, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, in the K dictionary, I'm going to just change the year to 0. So if it changed to 0, then we should remove that year, correct, and it should not be in the registration list. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put self.klist kdic of j is going to be 0, and when it is 0, we are not going to print it. That's it. So now let's run it. We have the output, and let's move on to the second part. So the first part is done. The second part is, we have to print the registration IDs in the order of which the object list is passed. So now here again we have to iterate through the object list. So for I in self.elist, and here again we have to iterate through the K dictionary for j in self.kdic. So if I.id is equal to j, and one more thing is, it should not be 0, and so self.kdic of j is not equal to 0, then we are going to print the j value. So now let's run it. Yeah, so now we have got all the outputs correctly. So now we got the amount also, which is 3,02,000, and also the order. And now let's move on to the second sample input and output, and let's calculate it. So I'm just going to paste it and see how it is going to be. And we didn't handle one more case, which is if the tax is paid then it should be, if t is 0, then we should like print like taxes already paid, like that. So now I'll just run this one, and after that I'll handle that also. Control V and run. So it is 0, it should not be 0 actually. Let's see, it should be 1300, and it was paid on 2010, and the past year is 2023, so it should be excluded actually, and they've given us 36,000 as the thing. So let's put like this, let's ignore this one, and I'm just going to put it like greater than 2, and let's see what we are getting. Now I'm going to run it. Yeah, so as how they mentioned is, if it is greater than 10 it should be excluded, but in that input they had not given like that. You can refer to the question on this thing, but keep eye on handling it. Maybe we cannot, like for this case alone it is not required. Now I'm going to handle with other things also. So if any of this is not found, if the id is not found in the list itself, then we have to make the t value to -1. So t is equal to -1. So now I'm going to consider the cases. So if t is greater than 0, then it has to print the amount, and else if t is equal to 0, then the tax is already paid, because only if it is like equal to 2. So what is this case is, if it is paid in the year or before that year, if it is less than 1, then it should be 0. So I'm just putting it as equal to 2, and if it is not equal to 2, then it will be becoming 0. Here I'm going to print tax already paid, and if it is like -1, so if it is greater than 0 and equal to 0, I've given greater than 0 and equal to 0, so any other else is going to be a negative number, which is -1. I'm going to print no property found. Okay, and that's it. So it is showing like no property found with 10300 something, but previously it showed. So now the problem over here is nothing but we have given this else in here. So if any instance of uncomparison will change this value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave it as 0. If it is 0, then like the property tax is not found, like no property found. And if like I'm going to just remove this else, and here I'm going to give one more condition, if it is less than 2. So if I'm just going to copy paste this thing, Control C, and if it is less than 2, then I'm going to change or I'm going to give one more like variable called p and set it into false, and here I'm going to set it to true, is equal to true, which means the tax is already paid. And here I'm just going to put if p is equal to true, the t should be capital, make sure. If it is true, then the tax is already paid, and if not any case of it, then we're given no probability found. Now let's run it. Its p is equal to true. Now run it. Yeah, so here also the f is capital, and now I'm running it again. It says no property found. Okay, I'm just going to put this above. Control X and I've made some changes over here, which I'll be replacing now. So here I've just given us 10301, so it is actually giving the correct output, which is not 103011. And now if I give 103011 and 2023, now I'm running it, you can see the amount in 2023. If like the amount is paid before a year or after 1 year, now it should print like tax already paid. Oops. Here also I should handle one more case. It should not print like tax already paid, and this should be like not equal to 0. It should be greater than 0. So like it can be equal to 0, but when it is not found, even in minus values, I think it is considering. And one more thing over here is when I put like p is equal to true, and also in that case the t will be 0. So it will also print no property found. So here we have to put one more condition, like p is equal to false. If it is false, and then if t is equal to 0, then it should print like no property found. And yeah, so I'm going to just do it. If p is equal to false and t is equal to 0, then it should print no property found. So now let's run it. Yes, so now it's printing like tax already paid, and I'm going to just remove this print statement. And that's it, guys, for this video. I think it was useful, and I showed all other errors which I encountered during solving this question, so that it would be useful for you guys, so that you can understand how you can solve it and how to debug your code. And yeah, this is a lot to handle, but be make sure you read the question carefully. And there might be cases these things are being missed in the instruction area, so make sure you always do consider the input and output to solve the question. So it is and best practiced way, and it is the most easiest way, so that you can figure out the logic clearly and easily. Okay, and yeah, and so what they've told actually is they've told to like remove the thing when it is greater than 10, but to calculate the value. So what we have did is correct, except the amount should be calculated irrespective of whether it is 10 years or something. But if it is greater than 10 years, then it should be removed from the list. So now I'm just doing it. If it is greater than 10, the same thing, self.kdic not kdic is of j is going to be 0, and here it will check whether it is not equal to 0 and then print it like that. So now I'm just going to put it as 2023, and I'm going to run it again. So now we can see it has removed 103011. That registration ID has been removed. And yeah, that's it for this question. The sample output is perfect. So if you have any other doubts or any other question, feel free to comment it down, and I'll be trying to answer all your questions. And yeah, so by this time you might have got the tutorial video, and we'll be starting from this week, and we'll be going through small steps starting from basics to this advanced this level. which is useful to crack your IRA. And make sure you subscribe to my channel to get notified whenever I post a tutorial video and also the solution videos. And the CPA video will also be out soon, so make sure you hit this like button if you like the video and if you feel my content is worth. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys, and I'll meet you in the next one. Until then, keep learning, keep rocking. This is your very own Doraemon signing off. Peace out. Cheers. Bye.